So we'll start with the Karakia from Rika.
Right. Good morning. Morena. Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa ponamu te moana. He huia rahi mai, tātou I te rangi nei. Aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou ia tātou katoa. Huie tai kie. May peace be widespread, may the sea be like greenstone, a pathway for us all this day. Let us show respect for each other, for one another, bind us all together.
So we have no apologies. So do we have anyone in public forum? No? Okay. I don't need to move from there. Do I? No. Okay, cool. And there's no additional items on the agenda? Like moving second. No? Does anyone have any conflicts of interest? No? Okay. Minutes for confirmation. Can I have a mover and a seconder to confirm the minutes from this 12th of June meeting? Got Bess.
I'll second.
Deli. Anyone want to comment on that? Correctness? No? No. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The external Mercury Bay Stormwater Stakeholder Groups minutes for receiving. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll move that.
You've got Deli.
I'll second that.
And Peter. Does anyone want to provide an update? No? Okay, cool. All those in favour say aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried.
Madam Chair, is it appropriate that I just comment to the entire board that Brett Houston's working on short statements that kind of summarise each time there's a meeting, something that can be posted on social media and also shared with the wider community there. That's right, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
No,
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good to know. Okay, so we'll move on to the big one, the request for ground lease. Got Nicole online. Okay, we've got Nicole online.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Does anyone have any questions or clarification?
So this is just the existing site in the same containers that are currently there.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Oh, and another question.
Mhm.
So it's a peppercorn rental or lease of $350 per annum, which a lot of other sporting groups and clubs pay. Do we pay anybody else's $350?
Not unless they apply and have good reason for asking for well, it's mainly a grant actually. Through a grant, we don't actually waive it as such. So if they do, it would be through a grant process.
Okay.
The board's
So
grant
then,
process.
Personally, I'd like to propose that we extend their lease for them, but I'm not a fan of giving them a grant to pay the ground lease.
I agree. I feel like it's going to set a precedent.
Yes.
Everyone's going to come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, Rika?
In a year's time, they would follow the same process if they still needed the space? Or is it just one and they're done?
Sorry, what was that? I just didn't
In a
quite
year's
hear
time,
that.
they still needed the space, they would go through this process again? Or is
If
it?
they needed that space,
Yeah.
what, after the 12 months, you mean?
Yes.
There is the option of just holding the lease over, so it would be like a month-to-month tenancy once that 12 months expires. So they unless they want to go through the formal application process for a lease, then they would apply again. But otherwise, we just hold it over and it's a month-to-month.
And through the chair, staying on that point a little bit further, could I suggest that perhaps we include in the lease document a right of renewal for another 12 months, so we don't have to go through the same formality if the club does want an extension.
Yeah, they thought 12 months would be enough to sort out the arrangements they're trying to sort out through Dock and Port Dundas Street.
Through the chair, it always takes longer than you think.
Yes. Yeah, and there's always that possibility that they don't get it, so.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so we'll take a vote for declining the grant. Who's in favour of declining paying this lease?
Next item,
Okay. So we received the request for ground lease at Buffalo Beach.
I can pull it up on the screen if you'd like. I'll go back.
Yes, it's.
Would you like to take the whole recommendation and just try it with declined first for resolution number 5
Yes, I think so.
and do a vote on that?
Yeah.
And then if that falls, we'll do one for approved.
Yeah.
So we-
Okay, so
Changes or other points in the resolution?
were there any other points that we wanted to discuss?
Excuse me, through the chair, just about the neighbouring properties, have they been consulted or do they need to?
Nicole, could you hear that?
Sorry,
Yeah, no. I'm not sure whether they have been consulted. I just understand there have been no complaints made, but yeah, they can be consulted if required.
Ben, yeah.
Yeah, just for the,
Also, sorry, through the chair, I just might add that this still needs to be advertised through the Reserved Act process. So if there are any objections through that process, they're most welcome to also submit the neighbours if they feel they've got an objection to the lease proposed.
Rika?
Can we ask that the immediate neighbours maybe get a letter, so
Yeah,
that it's
sure.
paper, but just you'd hate for them to miss it.
Yeah.
That they get a letter. Yeah.
Okay.
Dean?
yeah, just through the chair, from my conversations with Grant McDonald, I do understand that they have spoken to the neighbours. I just don't know the extent of that or the frequency of that. I have spoken to one neighbour myself who confirmed it was the relationship was good, but I couldn't confirm how far they'd gone.
So if we need a letter.
Yeah, they have been there for 1.5 years already, so it might be nice to know for them that they're going to be there for another year.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, might start getting.
Through the chair, how do we capture the sentiment of the discussions that have taken place where we do provide within the lease an opportunity to extend, because I think it's absolutely the right thing to do, because as Peter well summed up, these always take longer than people expect. And secondly, the view that we are not supportive of the $350 grant for this because of the precedent setting that it will provide. I think it's really somehow in what we now pass, I think it's important that we capture those things as well. I don't know.
Agreed.
Go through that, John.
No, I think we can just take the vote that we want to approve the lease, but we decline the grant, and we'll just take that vote first, right?
Maybe approve the lease with an extension.
With the right for renewal.
Ability to extend.
So 12 months.
We
So we have an amended version then?
Yes.
We haven't received the report yet, have we?
Through the chair, there is actually in the lease document the holding over clause, which allows for that to happen just as a matter of through process. So, I mean, it doesn't specifically have to be conveyed.
Can I then clarify why that wasn't done in the initial period? Is what's different with the initial period and this new lease?
Well, they didn't have a lease. This is a proposal for a lease.
Okay.
They just had an informal agreement, and it was only meant to be a temporary agreement with council staff.
As a response to the storm week moving
That's right, yeah.
So what now changes? So we have to move from an informal to a formal lease.
Well, it was only meant to be a very temporary situation, and it's lasted for over a year and a half. And being on a reserve, they really need to have a lease in place.
I think they want to feel the security of staying.
And the security, yeah, for that exclusive use of
That's
that,
a bit of
where
time.
that container is.
Okay.
Dean?
Yeah, through the chair, just as Councillor Connell said, it's a bit of tidying up because they didn't think the initial period would last so long. So that's the reason for the report. In terms of the 350, what we can do is we can make governance just records a reason, for that decision to be clear to everyone else, and that'll be recorded in the minutes.
Through the chair, if they paid for this last 18 months at all?
No, they haven't. There's been no fee, no money change hands.
Would they ask us to pay now? Sorry.
No.
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah, again, through the chair, just to reminder, the board did support their 350 on the current site because they were unable to use it, Whitianga. So I assume they've looked at the same logic there and just asking whether the community board would be willing to or not. I don't think the 350 is going to hold them up too much.
So through the chair, and any discussions, can we be really clear that we are very supportive of them? We're just concerned about the precedent that might set for all the other community groups that don't receive it.
Yeah.
So look to the camera and say that.
Yep, Jesse's got that.
The camera.
Okay.
You're a fine form today.
We both.
What's in my phone? Right, what do you need?
Split two sisters.
So we're going point by point then. So point one, we're all happy with. We've received the report. Point two, there's a new deed of lease, which we will approve the new deed of lease for a vote.
To advertise a proposal. Selection.
I don't have that in mind. Advertise the proposal to grant new deed of lease, yeah. Okay, we'll take a vote on that one.
Should we change that to advertise in contact immediate neighbours or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring us just into the new deed of lease.
Yeah, but we've got to vote on number two first, don't we? So all those in favour of number two, with the amendment that we'll contact the neighbouring properties. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay. Point three, recommends to council that they enter a new deed. And we'd like to add that there's the right of renewal to that,
No, there's no right of renewal, sorry.
but we
It's just,
can't add that.
well, it's part of the lease. It's a holding over clause that is actually part of the lease deed, and it allows for, after the expiry of the lease, to actually go on to a periodic term tenancy of month to month.
Is everyone happy with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favour of that, say aye.
Just to clarify, has someone moved and seconded these?
Did we do that?
Just for the decision report, will we just be doing that at the end?
Just what we're voting on now.
No.
Yeah, we'll move and second at the end
Sorry?
after we've clarified each of the points. We're just going through all five.
The content and then looking at the resolutions and.
I would have thought
Paper
that
is
if
hot.
to vote on something, you needed someone to move it and someone to second it.
Right. No, I'm just going through all points and making sure we're all happy with each of the points.
Esther's had me on to Esther.
Through the chair, yeah, so as long as they're just gathering the feedback and we can take the whole resolution as one, that's fine.
Okay, point four, recommends to council that it delegate the Mercury Bay Community Board the power to hear any submissions. Is everyone in favour of that one?
Yes.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, cool. And so the last one, we are voting to decline the grant of the 350 from the discretionary fund. Is that everyone's support?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Is there any other points anyone wants to make? No. Okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? We've got Deli and John. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, motion carried.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to 3.1, the Community Services Award.
Through the chair, I take the report as read and open for any questions.
Okay.
Just through the chair, it's an exciting opportunity to have nominations from our community for people that go above and beyond. There was a query, and I just want my colleagues at the council table regarding each board is awarding two people, selecting two people out of the process, but some wards have given a certificate to all nominees and invited them to morning tea. So I'm just wondering whether or not now is the time to discuss that and to decide whether or not that's a pathway. Like there's two official awards, we have the framed whatevers, but some wards have opted to recognise, say there's 6 people, to give them a certificate of recognition. And I'd just like to canvass that thought. I'm for like, yeah, going.
Through the chair, we can get a response from Ari regarding that one, but I would say it's going to come down to budget, and if they have a bunch of nominations, there might be some restrictions in that sense, but I will get her to look into that and come back to you.
Or even if they're invited to morning tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a few extra scones and.
Two people.
2 people are selected from the process, so the community nominates, and then there's
More than 2 people doing good in the community.
There's plenty of people out there.
Yes.
And through the chair, the thing almost a duplication of our volunteers day. It's a board we put a lot of time and effort into. And so while I say it's a great idea to pick out 2 particular people, I don't really see the need to offer morning tea to every nominee that may be suggested.
yeah, fair point. Through the chair, I don't think we've had huge numbers of nominations previously, and Rika may be able to correct me on that, but just a thought, if you've got half a dozen people. But maybe that's something we can look at
Once we know the numbers.
Yeah, once we know the numbers, is everyone happy with that? Just to have that for it all once we see what the nominations are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'd happily put my hand in my pocket to buy some morning tea.
Make some of those moments.
Oh, I have my deep spots.
Although through the chair, just one more comment quickly. When you receive the nominations, you can also work through that question at that stage when you know how many there are.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Appreciate that.
Okay, so we've got Rico's moved. Can I have a seconder, please? John? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. So the request for service. Anyone have any comments or questions?
Yeah, great. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Last day today. So, today I invite Rachel Ludeman. She is the customer senior representative in my team. She will be an observer, just in case when I'm not available, she will be able to help you guys to the report. So, the purpose of this report is to provide you an overview of the work that we did for the last 3 months. So we provide in the first part of the report, 1st of March to 31st of May. So what work we did in customer services in our team. So we still answer 80% of the calls at the first point of contact, which is pretty amazing knowledge that we have in our team to be able to support the organization at 80% of the time. Also, we as a customer services are the receiving officer not only for the calls from the community, but also for the emails. So this chart, you can see how many emails we receive from the community every month, March, April, and May, and how many customers we have in our offices visiting our offices. Normally, Mercury Bay has 21% of visitors in our offices. So across the whole world, the whole district. So it's basically, we receive nearly 2,000 customers visiting our offices. So I was thinking the impact that we can provide as a customer services team by every day offering a kind service to people, right? In the last 3 months, we have 2,000 customers in us. So the last chart is providing the breakdown of how many orifices we load for Mercury Bay for March to May have the highest number of orifices. So following by teams. So it's the large population that we have in Mercury Bay and also the highest percentage of permanent residents in Mercury Bay. So in the next part of the report, we're talking about the progress of the RFS implementation. So with the RFS project implementation actually has a very positive reaction from the customers. Customers are very happy receiving the automatic notification as soon the RFS is complete, but also this project has the component of the awareness across our organization to ensure when the RFS is complete, our action officers contact the customers. So Rodin, water services are contact the customers as soon they close the RFSs. So basically we complete the RFS project for all departments in the infrastructure that is parks and reserves, roading, water service, and solid waste. Those departments work alongside with contractors. Now, what happens with the regulatory department, which is building, duty planning, and regulatory nonsense? We don't have contractors, so TCDC staff dealing directly in a daily basis with the customers and have permanent contact with them. So basically, this pretty much done the project and with very positive outcome from the community. Mm-hmm. So the next part of the report, you can see the breakdown for the same period of time, 3 months, the breakdown per word of how many RFSs we complete for the top 6 departments versus how many RFSs are outstanding, right? I'm still open. Thank you so much, John, for your feedback. We will be able to provide this report. So you can see that for Mercury Bay from 31st of March to 1st of March to 31st of May. So the highest departments, the highest volumes for Mercury Bay were building planning, also parks and open spaces with 245 RFPs complete and 41 RFPs still open for the last 3 months.
Just a quick question for you. Under building and planning, where you look at for Mercury Bay, the 195. So when a builder rings and asks, I'd like to have an inspection, but to book an inspection, is that what gets logged in that? Is that the number of calls?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's everything that's related to building
and planning.
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Can I also start? At front desk foot traffic, sorry, you may have said it, but on the numbers, that's 21% of.
Yes.
What?
So, sorry, there are not the numbers. So basically, we have nearly 2,000, 21% of 1,941 visitors for this period, 1st of March to 31st of March.
That's total.
But yeah, it's a good observation. We can put the number of visitors. We just do the percentage because normally there is very consistent month by month, the percentage. So Mercury Bay has 20% of the volume. In Teams, we have 50% of the total volume, divided between AA agency and TCPC queries. So, for these 3 months, we can see how many RFPs our top 6 departments complete. For Mercury Bay, the highest were Parks and Reserves, also solid waste and water services. So the next part of the report is about, for the last year, how many RFPs for the top 6 departments were complete versus how many RFPs is still open. So to provide this report, the managers give us their input with a brief high overview of what are the dynamics of the time frames that they manage. So basically, every single RFPs are built into a specific time frame. We, customer services, are the receiving officer. As soon as we receive the RFPs, by any channel, should be phone, front desk, email. So we submit the RFPs and they are to the action officer, to the department, the business unit, and they have a time frame. The action officer, if they don't complete the RFPs in this specific time frame, the system will provide notification to the manager. So every single RFP is not complete within the time frame. The manager of this department will get a notification. So, for example, for Parks and Reserves, when the RFP is not complete, Parks and Reserves contractor can have to contact the department and ask for extension of the period to be able to complete the RFPs. So something that you can notice, which is very nice to see, to have the perspective of how many RFPs are complete versus how many RFPs is still outstanding. And something interesting that we can highlight here is the explanation that the roading managers provide to us, and also the water services manager. Just explaining that the RFPs time frames vary according to the works involved, and some works lead to a long investigations that can take several months to complete. As the same for utility connections in water services, they have several months to complete. And the last chart that we have in our report for today is just to compare our peak periods. So we basically have 3 high peak periods. We are at the moment going through one of the highest peak periods during the year, that is dog registrations and rates. But also in this report, because in our last meeting, we discussed the peak period from December to January. So the last report compare how many RFPs were logged for the top 6 departments for how many for these 2 periods. So we can easily identify that they have, if we compare December 2022 to January 2023, compared to this period, December 23 to January 24, you can see the highest volume of the RFPs that we lost for solid waste, of course, because it was the transition and people and the non-resident visitors still adjusting to the new system for the solid waste. This is basically our report, and now there is a proposition for you guys to align this report to our financial year. So, because this report is not aligned to our financial year. So our financial year is start 1st of July. So the proposition is for me to provide this report again to you guys, July, August, September. So I will provide this report on October, and we align with the. There is any question?
Through the chair. Well done. It's good to see so much helpful information, and obviously a lot of work going on within that theme. So from my perspective, I just want to say thank you to you for those efforts. It was probably the one thing that I would still like to see to add to the list, and that is and understanding, and I know you're trying to do that with those that are outstanding in the RFSs that go back to the managers. I'd like to see an aging, of those in regard to how old they really are, to be able to understand a perspective of whether we're really clearing those things or not. So, if it was somehow possible to be able to have an aging analysis on outstanding RFSs, to be able to see whether we are, clearing them and they are as indicated, for example, in the roading area, just more complex and take more time to get through. Or whether we have a whole lot of them at the older end scale that just aren't dropping off the end, if that makes sense. That would, from a governance point of view, would be very helpful to me to understand, whether we're dealing with the more complex ones as well as we are with the simple ones.
Okay, so just to clarify, yeah, definitely, we can engage with the rolling manager. So for all the departments, probably the departments with the lead times will be rolling and water service. They have longer lead times, and then something that we can provide is what are the common services that can take several months, and engage with the manager of water services and rolling department to understand how
just the ones that are outstanding, how old are they in categories? And so then when you compare one period with the last period, you can actually see whether they're moving into more older all the time, or they are clearing.
Just to reassure you on this, the report of the outstanding RFPs is only, this report reflects only the RFPs that were logged on this year. So this report is not reflection of the previous year. It's just for this year.
Lorna just wanted to say
Just
something.
through the chair, I understand what John's saying. What we can do is we can just carry over some of the projects that still haven't been completed, and just carry them over, and we'll show that to show that there are things that are still.
You see what I'm trying to.
It's a bit like the rate debts, and they just get carried over the details that we have. I want to reiterate through the chair what John said, and I'm well known as the person who loves an infographic and a graph. So don't give me lots and lots of words, give me graphs, and this report is fantastic. I went through it yesterday and it was easy to understand. And I feel really confident that the staff worked really hard to close the loop, which was a big complaint that elected members had about the loop being open. So I applaud the work of your team, and love the way you put the report together. It's so good to understand.
I just also add to that, Adrian has been fantastic in leading it. It's actually been a huge cross team across business, and all the buy-in from all of the actual other teams to provide the data, and actually everyone has improved in the way that they have been dealing with their subcontractors, and also about just thinking about their customer service response. We're also doing just an audit, which Adrian canvasses monthly, and that's internally. We take about 10 to 20 RFPs and just look at them and share them with the GMs, and the reporting of that has been incredible. Like we're saying, we probably need to make it 50 now to find a bad one, because they're all actually doing a lot better.
Okay. Oh, that is so good. So please, please convey our congratulations to everyone involved in that piece of work.
Thank you, definitely. Thank you so much.
Chair, I made an inquiry about an RFS that was given last July, and somebody had mistakenly delegated it to water when it should have been roading. The water person closed it off.
Oh,
So the person wasn't notified of the closing off, and therefore the error could have been discovered to the error.
thank you so much. Definitely, it can happen. We receive thousands of pieces, and sometimes they cause it can happen. But I'm really happy to review, and we are working also with just to ensure we don't have any point of failures. For this reason, the training for our staff is consistent. It's every day to ensure the accuracy of what we do. But thank you so much, and I'm very happy to review this particular case. If you can send me to Peter. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just to receive.
No, we have to receive them, yeah. Can I have a mover and a seconder to receive? I'll do it. Rika and Bess. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carried. We'll move on to the CAPEX work programme.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So hello, my name's Luke Archibald. I am the brand new program manager. Welcome. So day 3, week 2. So I've been focused on the important stuff of learning how to get into a building, book a car, all of those sorts of things being new to the team. Today for me is about introducing myself, telling you where I've come from. I don't know much about your projects at the moment because it's that early on, but I wanted to front up today so you can see who I was. So I've got a reasonably decent background in project delivery. I've worked previously with Hamilton City Council. That was my last role. Prior to that, with the Department of Conservation out of their national office, delivering their strategic projects using all over New Zealand. So managed some pretty decent portfolios and complex projects. This is an area I grew up hunting and fishing with my parents and my father. So I was really keen to get back here and work in the local area. So welcome. Thank you. Luke Archibald.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, so many.
Well, be nice to the new guy.
Through the chair, I wonder how fair or useful it is to be asking Luke questions about the CAPEX report when you're just 3 days into the job.
Ask the questions, I'll take them away and commit to
Yeah,
coming back.
okay. I just thought if we threw them out to the ether, someone would catch.
Someone would pick them up. I was just looking if we had Lorenzo online or.
It's on leave.
That's right.
He's what here with Glenn.
But
We've got Glenn.
Oh, there he is.
right.
Okay. Rika, you want to start then?
I just have one, it's not even a question, it's a suggestion. I understand that we are upgrading the CCTV cameras on the wharf. And I would like to know whether they can be repurposed, the old one, and used at Ferry Landing. No, Ferry Landing, in light of just the recent disaster and things like that. Yeah, so I just want to put that out there.
Yep.
It's noted here under our Esplanade redevelopment, that's being planned for this financial year.
We could take the as an action to assess the existing ones to see if they can be repurposed. Because
Yeah, absolutely, they may not be suitable, but then I guess my next question will be, should we have a conversation about funding some cameras for Ferry Landing, but we'll do that next time.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Through the chair, just looking at the South Highway West, legal transfer those bunkers. Can someone tell me why it's costing $570,000, or is that a typo? Definitely silent.
Probably a good question for Ed.
Yeah, might have to take that one away to Ed. I'd be happy if you got back to me directly, that would be good. Thank you. But on a positive note, good news on the rising main, et cetera, coming in under budget, credit where it's due.
Absolutely.
In the stormwater.
Any other comment or question?
Through the chair. I've just got a query on the Whitianga future water source investigation. And reading through the steps that have been taken up to date, and the steps that are to happen, I see that the action plan is for a final report to go to council in August 2024 for review and approval of options. And I just query being related to Whitianga water services, whether that final report should perhaps be coming to our community board to have a look at and make comments on.
Yeah, through the chair, we can ask that question. It is a district activity. I do know from the council agenda review yesterday that the report's not quite ready. So it won't be in the August pack. But we can certainly ask that question as to whether it comes to the board beforehand or whether the council then actually passes it to the board for some comment.
I'm just sorry. Oh, sorry.
I was going to suggest maybe whilst we are going to the Seagull Centre and in Thames, we could get a session with Mo and just an informal update. Well, we're all in Thames if he's around, or someone from his team.
Yeah, through the chair, that would be
Oh, good idea.
yeah, that would be a really good use of time.
Yeah, would.
I think we could easily arrange
Yeah.
either with Mo or Brett or someone.
Whoever
Yeah.
on that team, but we're there, and so they don't have to travel.
But through the chair, I have a question in regard to shark bite.
Okay.
Can I just have an understanding, again, just to refresh my memory, when was the consent lodged? What was the expected time frame for a resource consent? And has this been done within that time frame, or has there been reasons for it to be delayed?
Get through the chair. I'm just trying to get to the update. In terms of when the consent was lodged, I don't have that information in front of me, but it would have been in a previous report. I do know that the consent had actually been in the process of being prepared prior to the erosion of the end effect, which caused them to pause and need to include that, because the consent is for the whole of the Buffalo Beach wall as well as the shark bite. In terms of second part of the question as to how long, yeah, really hard to answer that one, John. Yeah.
Incredibly, through the chair, frustrating for the community to understand how processes like that can take so very, very long. I think now we've actually communicated better about it not just being the bite, it's that whole section, that whole structure, which was part of the reason why it was slowed down. But, you know, I suppose we need to try and give progress reports to the community because they're very visible source of angst and a source of criticism for council staff and elected members. Can I move on to, through the chair, Tapuatea Spit? It seems an infant plan including Māori values assessment to be completed. Whereabouts are we with that? Because I know there's still some angst about the Hohutakawa trees, and it's, you know, I had a wander through there the other day and it's looking a bit manky. Obviously, we've still got a boating club on stilts, but it would be nice to see this progressed.
Through the chair, we have been undertaking some weed control and they're getting the wattles on the corner by the bridge and any other weed species, which has been a little bit of a challenge given just the terrain that's in there at the moment. I think did you meet Neil Bailey, who is part of the parks team? So Neil and myself are just organising some mapping that we can get so that we can work with a little bit more on some of what they would like to see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heather.
So there's a little bit of work going on in the background just to try and progress that
Awesome,
forward.
thank you.
And just on Taputapu RTS bit, I walked over the other day and I noticed whoever is installing the Ruby's Bridge sign is actually damaging the bridge structure because they keep screwing or nailing that sign on, and council obviously keep removing it. And it came up on one of the social media chat pages that people were asking, well, who is Ruby? And I just think, I don't know how we get messaging out to our community that they shouldn't be
Doing that.
or putting structures. on
Destruction of
bridges
property.
and things. Absolutely. But it's actually really sad now because it's a beautiful bridge and it's got holes on both sides on each entrance where obviously they just keep installing that nameplate. I don't know how we communicate that. But it's really disappointing after everything we went to get the bridge.
So through the chair, perhaps that is one for the comms team and social media, and say that, you know, this is a beautiful facility paid for by the community, and we discourage these actions. And if you see anything happening, do let us know. Just, you know, it's that concept of our council, our property, our reserves, that collective responsibility for the assets that we have in our community and maintaining them to the highest standard.
Can I also say through the chair? If one was to know who this person is, obviously they feel very strongly, maybe that it could be suggested or discussed with them to put it in some other format, like a picnic table or with Ruby's name on it, whoever Ruby is.
And then everyone else will want a picnic table.
Yeah.
Well, no, other people do picnic tables and chairs, don't they, bench seats.
Memorial.
So through the chair, we had that discussion, and particularly from Ngāti Hei, around creating a wāhi tapu. Every time you put like a memorial anything anywhere, it's almost like creating a space that's inappropriate to eat food or do all sorts of things. It becomes, it's like crosses on the side of the highways, you know, it just becomes. So we're trying to, I think someone on the staff was working around, if not policy, some sort of a statement or communication with the public around, no, let's look at another way. Do you want to plant a tree somewhere or whatever?
Yeah, through the chair, exactly that, trying to look at alternatives so that we can offer people a range of options and try and move them towards something that, you know, will benefit the entire community. I mean, if we know who the person is, then the area manager or myself in confidence could approach them and have that discussion. But you know, we need them to come forward or to be put onto them, so that we can do a little bit of research there, because within our teams we may have an understanding already. No, we don't. Okay.
The other thing is that was highlighted is that in that sort of chat, it happened is can we talk to Ngāti Hei about maybe getting a history board made? I know there's one there, but just talk about the name Taputapu Aotea and Mother Brown's and some of the familiar names that it has, and also its Māori name, and just get some understanding around that space.
Instead of having their Ruby sign there, put that in place of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Actually, we had some, because what it highlighted to me is that there's a real lack of understanding around the history there. And I know there is one board there that didn't actually submit it, but it doesn't give you a lot of detail. But it's something to think about, and that goes back to that Māori values assessment and that whole space. And
so what you're saying is put something up there that's really meaningful for the whole community. Some understanding, some knowledge, some historical value.
And through the chair, I think that will come out of those wider conversations that Neil and myself and Joe hope to have.
Yeah, I was just going to, you know, trying not to hijack the entire CAPEX report, but in terms of meeting up with Ngāti Hei soon, I can't remember when our next scheduled meeting is, but you know, Joe was quite passionate about the inappropriateness of like people putting ashes into a stream or whatever, and it then becomes waihi tapu. And I think there is an opportunity working with local media and our own media to do some storytelling around that significance. And I'd also like to know, through the conversations with Joe and Shelley, etc., about the Robinson Road area. So Dean knew I was going to head in that direction because it does have implications for those discussions with Lorenzo around boat ramps and things like that as well.
Yeah, through the chair, we do have a catch up the first week of September, so we can schedule Tanuia and Tapatapuatia onto that catch up. Yes, these topics do come up. They have been rumbling on for probably a very long time. So yeah, let's discuss it in September and try and get some go forward.
Thank you, Dean.
Any further comments on the CAPEX program? Can I get a mover and a seconder to receive the work program?
I'll move.
We've got Rika and Bess.
Welcome, thank you.
We should have read so much of this.
All those in favour say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, motion carried. We'll move on to the Sherriff Block Project.
Yeah, and through the chair, I'm happy to take any questions in Lorenzo's absence on that. I have spoken to or had contact with James Greenwood and the project manager in the last couple of days. It's pretty much as per the report that they put forward. They did do the early works around the segment erosion controls, started bringing material to the site. It rained, work stopped, and probably that's going to be the natural cycle, waiting for those periods of good weather. But good news that they're underway.
That was good. Good to see that email.
Any questions or comments? No? Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder? We've got Ellie and Caroline. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, motion carried. The action schedule.
Chair, may I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Number one on the action schedule is the Esplanade Historical Pavers and a discussion on ideas scheduled for upcoming networking day. These are the ones that have failed, basically. They've gone out.
Yes.
So what would the ideas be other than going back to the company and saying your product is looking a bit crappy and hasn't done what it was meant to do?
Through the chair. Sue has spoken with the company and they've been in there for 5 years. So I guess it's a good point whether the Hoggan Path is what has caused
You're talking about abrasion.
the abrasion. So whether or not they were ever intended to stand up to Hoggan Path, I don't know. So Sue did let me know yesterday that she's still asking them the new design of any pavers has deeper etching, whether that would work or whether you would need to concrete it, whether or not instead of putting pavers, you put QR codes that people can scan. She's looking at all sorts of options so that she can provide us with, some ideas. But you're right, as they are at the moment, they're not working and not fit for purpose. But that's what the 5 years of Hoggan has done to them. So she's looking into that. We don't have an answer yet because there's quite a few things that she's looking at as options for us.
Oh, thanks, Heather. That clarifies that. Another question through Chair. That visit to the Seagull Centre intent is locked and loaded?
Yes, yeah. Cool. Yeah, we're just working on the timings for that so that we can go there and also the people that we want to meet in terms while we're there. So
and just a note, that it is likely that the three Mercury Bay councillors will be over there. So when you're considering transport, it probably won't include the three of us. Good to know. Because we've got a council meeting workshop, one or the other, the day before. I've spoken to Ari and governance about staying over and meeting everyone else there.
Good information. Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, because I know it's hard, wrangling, yeah, herding cat.
Yes, Chair, I just want to mention that I had a kōrero with John Moore yesterday. Everything's going well, but he just can't justify it. He's trying to justify the 200,000 being spent on those toilets, but you know, there are options. They're looking at the best options. Yeah, and he's looking at realistic options and he's quite happy. They've got predator control happening and the school is using the park more. So yes.
So, sorry, Bess, are you suggesting that we were going to charge
No,
him
he came up.
$200,000?
No, that was the
Oh.
budget. Well, working within that 200,000, I think he gave me that figure yesterday. That was suggested, I think.
So through the chair, we had a meeting with John and Yes was there, and we got our parks people who are kind of the experts in public conveniences to come in and tell us what might be suitable options for up there. And what sort of sizing and, you know, all the all the practicalities of it and streams and where you put it and all that kind of stuff. And John's going to go away and look at potentially how, you know, what they needed, what the numbers were and how they could fund that and applications for funding, that kind of discussions. So, yeah, he was provided with quite a bit of detail on that, wasn't he? That was good stuff. And also with the contact details for Permaloo and Exaloo as companies that we have on those type of vault type toilets. Because I think that parks people think that's the best way for them to go, because otherwise you're looking at on-site wastewater systems and it becomes exponentially more expensive. So the ball is back in their court. Yeah.
He's looking at more realistic options. So yeah.
I think through the chair, you know, sadly we're all being disavowed of our naivety when it comes to how much public convenience costs. And we've all gone, oh my God, 600,000 for a toilet block. And we've had it explained to us, and it's just very, very hard for, you know, our hardworking members of the community to go,
yes,
really?
Understood.
It's that much. But, you know, I'm confident with the explanations I've had. I still don't like it. That's what it costs in the world of civil or community facilities. So I can understand that why he was a little bit surprised or horrified.
Can I, through the chair, raise a question in regard to the wharf and the item that's on here in regards to the licensing requirements? So I've read the comments that are in here that we have applications that are out for people to complete, return. Is there a time frame around those, and you know, is there a general appetite for people to try and understand a little more around what those requirements will be going forward? So does it, you know, is it something that provides some elements of control over what the wharf is used for, how long people can stay there, and under what circumstances the council have the ability to be able to change the arrangements for users to be able to run events and other types of activities. Just be really good to understand that a little bit more.
Don't think we have anyone online that can answer that. So through the chair, we can find that out and come back to you.
But just through the chair, Graham, I support that comment from John. And I thought that his query was relating to the commercial licensing arrangements. The report is really a factual statement of what's been happening, but doesn't really tell us what the licensing arrangements are. And I would support it quite interesting and worthwhile to know exactly what those arrangements are that are being licensed.
Thanks. Further to that, what is the timeframes, commercial concessions? They used to come here, but we don't see them anymore. What are they financial year?
Commercial concessions as opposed to the wharf, when they do different processes.
Sorry, so the wharf concessions, not the maritime facilities bylaw,
Wharf licensing,
operators licensing.
I don't know, I will have to find that out for you.
Yeah.
Through the chair, I know you've got a very busy day when you go to Thames, but that's also another topic that we might be able to squeeze the briefing on, if an email doesn't suffice.
Helena's, through the chair, Helena's shaking her head at Andrew.
Okay.
But
See what that looks like, Mr. Chair.
we'll see what we can fit and, yeah.
Can we provide mints next time that can be thrown?
And
Did you say mints?
the
Yeah,
little
they do at the
minutes from the
council.
council office, not minutes.
Oh, I'm thinking something. Sorry. What? I thought it was
Sorry. Wild moment.
mints.
Okay. Where are we?
Although I don't understand why you threw mints. Oh, okay. Goodness me, constantly.
I'll just make the comment that I'm happy to see that the health and safety of the Hahe bollard came back, and there it sounds like the issue's now being handled. So
And they never rear its ugly head.
we never hear the word bollard again, right?
Wow. In that context, it's right.
Yeah. Okay. So can I have a mover and a seconder to receive the action schedule? We've got Jelly and Rika. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, motion carried. Okay, then the correspondence report.
So through the chair, there is a correspondence report with only really the one thing on there from Mr. Mortalman asking the board's opinion on the stage 10C accommodation and development. You will have read that. And I understand that you have been sent out a follow-up letter from him that we received yesterday. Again, just asking your thoughts on that, so you might want to provide that. We've also had a incoming email from the Matarangi and Korotunu residents and ratepayers. I understand you've seen that as well. It'll be tabled in regard to Bluff Road connectivity. And there was one more. Lost. I thought an outgoing correspondence was just the letter of support that you provided for Ngāti Hayes' application to the Waikato Regional Council Environmental Initiatives Fund. So did anyone have any questions or any comment, particularly in regards to Mr. Mortimer's request for your thoughts?
Through the chair. That would be something I'd like a little bit more background on, because I was in Thames on Monday and met with Deputy Mayor Terry Walker and some of the councillors were there to meet with the Chinese delegation, who are possibly interested in some investment in hotel facilities in the district. And I think that this correspondent raises quite an interesting question, and I wouldn't mind a briefing, just a little bit of background on that, if it can be perhaps just an informal briefing or slotted into a workshop / networking setting, just so I can understand a bit better, because we often get information like this or correspondence. This guy obviously has background around the sort of scheme plan for that development, that I would like some staff perspective on would be good.
So through the chair, just on that, I did go out to one of our planners, and the response that I put in the report is what he provided in relation to that structure plan, the onus being on the developer. But, you know, we can find out more, but that is pretty much where planning is.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but also as a lobby group, you know, we have heard that one of the reasons why we don't get big tour groups in Whitianga is that there is no, you know, decent number of bed hotel facilities here, and that's been going on. How long have I been in local government? 11.5 years. We've had this discussion again and again and again, and I'm not grumpy.
No, but you should have sorted it out by now.
But I think if there was an opportunity for something like that to happen, and I know that, you know, Ngāti Hay as well, involvement in, you know, as Tainui have done very successfully with Novotel and Ibis in Hamilton, for example. I don't think we should miss this. I just want to understand a little bit better and get into some nitty gritty, and even if it involves a conversation with Mr. Hopper or whatever, or other sites that might be applicable. Excuse me.
Yeah, just a question that I'd like to raise in regard to the letter of support for Ngāti Hay. So that has been done by circulation. Do we have a full record of what the recommendation was so that we can now confirm what that decision?
Through the chair, so the letter will be tabled that we've sent as part of the minutes for this meeting. I believe through governance. Yep, so that will be done. We have captured the emails and added a note, and that's in our database to say, you know, who voted for that or against that. But the only public part of it is that the letter is in the correspondence report tabled.
Right. So where are we recording the?
It's recorded in our internal systems.
Sorry, are you asking what the request was?
No, I
Where's the request?
know what the request was. I'm just wondering if we have, the letter was based as a recommendation from here. But I don't now really understand who voted for or against or any of the comments. It's not recorded formally.
Could we record it through governance? Could we record it as part of this meeting?
Through the chair, I don't know the context of that discussion that was had, so I'm not sure, but you could probably include that correspondence you've had by email into that report next time.
It's just a matter of procedural correctness, really, that,
Yeah.
you know, we're saying here that we're supporting it, but I have nothing to actually show that a majority of people here actually did support it. So,
Retrospective.
Yeah, through the chair, we could retrospectively include it in the next correspondence report and put a paragraph to just explain where everyone lied. In some of the more formal, like an LTP submission to WRC or whatever, you'll recall that we will often retrospectively include that as an agenda item.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that a letter of support for small scale initiatives fund would fall into that category. So
I disagree with that completely, because if something is going with the endorsement of this board, it needs to be formally recognised no matter what, because if that is then referred to at some stage as something that was passed, you know, where is the actual record to say that a majority of people in this board actually supported it? So I think it's a really important issue that does need to, you know, to be on record.
through the chair, we'll get some advice on that.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we'll include a report in the next agenda.
Yeah, and through the chair, I think sometimes, John, the timing is really poor for these things as well. And in the past, quite often we've had enough time to get those kind of requests into a more formal situation, and this one was quite a short time frame to turn around.
Heather, I totally understand and totally
So-
support the need for us to have that level of agility, but I think at the next meeting, which this would be the next meeting after that has occurred, we should formalise that process by recording what has taken place in regard to.
And that's why I'm
that's
wondering.
my view. Otherwise, we leave a gap that effectively could enable anything to be endorsed by the board without there being any formal recognition for that endorsement. So
No, that's going to be conflict. And that's why I just wondered whether we can do that as part of the minutes for this, and would that be adequate if we put that into the minutes?
Through the chair, I think what John's asking for really is a retrospective report with update on who supported what, etc., and what the letter that went out. And I see no harm in including that on the next agenda. But I don't actually have the context of the decision you're talking about, so we probably need to just double check that.
yeah, I just think in the procedural thing, it's important that we do have that formally in the minutes at some point to show that this was managed by a telephone conversation and the overall consensus was this or this, because, you know, I personally at that point in this particular case would have given my reasons for the stance that I had taken on that, and I would like that to be formally recorded. But at the moment, there is no ability to do that because we don't have a paper going through to recognise it apart from it being in correspondence.
And through the chair, just to add to that, I'm generally not very comfortable making decisions on the fly. Even though it is just a letter of support, I think I would have liked a little bit more information about the scope of project that Ngāti Hei want support in. Yeah, just a little bit more. I know it's last minute, but it's, you know, in terms of transparency, also understanding what we're supporting more fully.
Through the chair, I was taken a bit by surprise, well, by the speed at which this was asked to be actioned. And I did recall that we were asked for a letter of support for the yacht club and its dock thing. And this board went through a lot of trouble before it gave its decision in relation to the letter of support. And so I was a bit surprised with the speed at which this request was asked to be answered.
Yes.
Okay. Any further comments on the correspondence report? No, I don't know.
I was just going to say about that short notice. Can it not be relayed to such parties that if they're going to put in a request, they do it? No? Little waiting.
Yeah.
Be a bit of time. Because they're clicking their fingers and expect us to jump when as Deli said, we might want time to discuss about it.
And I endorse it. I think just sensitively, we need all people to understand that an endorsement from this board is not a simple process. You know, that we have to take in a lot of wide considerations in regard to how some people may react and how we should consult groups of people. And you know, I support Deli's view that I'd be very reluctant to give an on-the-cuff endorsement to anybody without broader discussion amongst the fellow members of this board so that we can really thrash out and understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and whether it creates precedent and whether similar things have been done in the past. I think those are basics of democracy that we can't ever shortcut for someone who suddenly realises that an endorsement by the board would be helpful in a process. So, you know, that's just my views that I think, you know, I'd like to just make clear.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. So can I have a mover and a seconder for the report? So we've got Bess and a seconder.
I'll second it.
And Peter. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carried. So the chairperson report. Anyone have any comments or questions? Can I have a mover and a seconder to receive the report?
I'll move.
Second, John and Delly. All those in favour say aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Okay. Thank you all. This meeting is closed.
Is there an ability